Hello YouTube, Joseph Crickmore here, and welcome back to my second video, my part 2 of 10 more light novel and manga that I think need an anime. Now apparently I didn't make this clear enough in the previous video, and I was probably stumbling over my own words back then. I'll make this clear now. They're just numbered 11 to 20. It's not in any particular order. I should have made that clear last time. I only wanted it to matter last time because of number 2 and number 1 on that list, because I really want those animated, but because now I'm making this video, it feels redundant to do that kind of formula again. So from this point on, any more videos I make like this will just go from 11 to 20, 21 to 30, you know what I mean? Also, I don't know if this was made clear or not in the last video, this list is my opinion. If you don't like a series I put on here that you don't think needs an anime, you don't have to come off on me in the comments. I don't know why. People seem to... There was one person, you know who you are. There was one person in the comments of my previous video. You can go to that video and you can find it. He decided to write an entire essay and was like, oh, 4 out of 10 list. And I'm just like... Bruh. Also, the point of the ones I chose was because they're ones that I've personally read and had a recommendation from a friend that they have not been adapted yet. So I'm sorry that like half of those were not to your liking. This time around, I'm being very clear about this. Okay? 11 to 20, one honorable mention, but I'll talk about that in a minute. No particular order this time. And if you have a problem with this list, suck it! Now then, before we go any further, I just mentioned an honorable mention on this list. So the list is already longer than the previous one because it's 20, instead of 11 to 20, it's 11 to 21, kind of. It's an honorable mention simply because it's a comic book that I found recently that is more like Invincible than an anime. You know what I mean? It would probably get on Amazon Prime Video and it would have an animation like that. So it falls more into the realm of Invincible than the anime world, but I still want to include it here because I want it to get more traction. I want more people to know about it. It's called Common America. And I will read you the description. Charlotte Carly Vanders as an aspiring fashion designer whose fate was changed the day she was bombarded by cosmic debris. Rebranding herself as a bona fide, supercharged henshin heroine, she humbly discovers that sometimes doing what's right isn't always what's fashionable, as she fights the forces of evil as the patriotic paladin known as Common America. And boy, when I found out about this series, I was like, more people need to know about this, okay? I've only read a little bit of it. It's actually pretty good for an American comic book these days. It's not the same company that did Invincible, like the publishing, but it's around that sphere. I bring this up in this video because I know it doesn't fit the rest of this video. It's a comic compared to manga and light novels, but I want it to get more traction. I'm advertising it here. Go pick up Common America. He's a fun, bombshell, patriotic paladin, fighting fashionista, jet-powered javelin, hate by Common America. Now then, we'll get to the actual list with number 11, and yeah, I will go just 11 to 20 at this point. Let's buy the land and cultivate it in a different world. Now, for a majority of these series, I've already read parts of them before. The ones that I haven't, I'll let you know, that are the recommendation. I think there's only 1, 2, 3, okay, 4 of these are recommendations from a friend. A different friend than the last one. Maybe like one from that other guy, but people have told me about series. I found them on my own. So I'll let you know. This is one that I have read already, parts of. And what I'll do is for all of them, I'll read the book description, like what the description of the book is. And then I'll go into detail if I have details. If I don't, I don't. You just get the description. So unfortunately, some are weighed more than others. But here we go. A corporate drone is summoned to another world and granted a powerful skill, Supreme Wielder, which is invisible to those who've summoned him. They're dismayed to see he's useless to them, so he asks only for a little plot of land to work for himself. His skill allows him to use any tool to its greatest abilities, including fishing poles, cooking utensils, and construction tools. When he fishes up a mermaid who wants him for her bridegroom, charms a young dragon with his cooking, and excites an undead king with his rare skill, how long will his country life last? It gets better than that as it goes on from what I've read. But one of the reasons I really like this series and I want it to get adapted, even though it sounds like a standard isekai, this is a world that functions with Greek mythology for its god system, okay? It looks like your typical medieval fantasy, but the gods of that world are Hades, Zeus, Hermes, and they treat Zeus like the Greek mytho jerk that he is. It's genius! If only for that reason alone it should get adapted. How often have you thought, ooh, the gods from Percy Jackson or the Zeus from Hercules in an isekai? That just sounds wild. And why hasn't it been done before? I have no idea. Unless I don't know of any others that do it. But that's a big reason it should get adapted. Because trust me, as more and more of these get adapted, you have to like the little things that make each one unique. Okay? Ever since we got Vending Machine as an anime, which I have watched recently and I love, okay? Because I love weird and wacky concepts. Anything goes, okay? Now you feel like number one, shining bright for everyone. Now, number 12 on my list, and this is, oh boy, this is the, I go and I record this video and I'm getting ready for this as it gets announced for an anime. So once again, it's like level 2 cheat in this situation. It's on here because it was here when I wrote the script. So it's only on this list because I had this written before it got the anime announcement. And it's Headhunted to Another World, from Salaryman to Big 4. I'm surprised that out of everything on this list, this is the one getting announced for an anime. And no, I'm not saying that any of these others are any less. It's just that it's weird to me that out of all the ones I said in the previous video and the ones I'm going to say in this video, that they're ones I wasn't expecting so soon. Well, here we go. Uchimura Denosuke is your normal, everyday salaryman trying to climb the corporate ladder, but then he's summoned to a terrifying fantasy world by the demon overlord, who's actually a better boss than any human boss imaginable. Like, he treats his subordinates well. He even offered him employee benefits. By the way, the series hasn't had any, like, conflict between them and humans, so we can't really gauge their evilness if you really want to look at it that way. Because, like, the demon overlord guy is an amazing character. Okay? And he offers Uchimura a job as one of the heavenly kings in his army, with full benefits. Uchimura may not have muscles or magic, but does have and offers workers skills and savvy. Will that be enough to keep him alive? Yes. Boy, oh boy, is this series great. Because it takes the concept of, you're a salary office worker getting isekai'd. He got isekai'd for his skills in the office. The demon army, in this case, needed management skills. I hope it gets the respect it deserves when it gets animated and it comes out. Like, when it releases. Because this is one that's already getting an anime. So I hope people respect what it is and they don't judge it until they've given it a chance. I hate people that they like look at these trailers and then they go, another isekai, boring, it looks bad. You don't give it a chance. Trailers are only going to show you like 10% of all the season's content. But whatever. It's a very good read, and it's only a manga, which I'm surprised. It's an isekai story that is just straight up a manga. Um, but then there's something at the end of the volume that I have, and it's like it's a weird spin-off chapter, and the demon overlord is in the most out of place in the spin-off chapter. I need to show you the panel. Anywho, number 13 on my list is the world's strongest rearguard, Labyrinth Country's novice seeker. So, corporate slave Arihito Atobe's death in a freak bus accident marks the beginning of his new life as a kind of adventurer called a seeker. Reborn into a fantasy world, he settles into a previously unknown job class called rearguard, capable of providing his all-female party with critical attack, defense, and recovery support. And it comes with an added bonus. Simply being at the back of the party line increases his companion's fondness for him. I've read very little of this series, and it's just the beginning parts, but man, this premise is great. But I don't care if this sounds like your run-of-the-mill isekai. It's different. Not much else I can say other than, because I haven't read much of the story yet. I've only read one volume worth of the light novel. But it is what the title is, World's Strongest Rearguard. Like, he's in this class I'm pretty sure they didn't know existed, or is like so rare it's like 1 in 10,000 or something, and it hasn't appeared in a long while. Him as a character shakes up the very structure of Labyrinth Seekers, and this is one's just a personal preference for me. I enjoy this story. Not much else I can say because I haven't read more of it. Now you feel like #1, shining bright for everyone. But number 14 on this list is the Game Master logged into another world. This one has a really high chance to get animated simply because there's only enough material for 1 or 2 seasons, or 1 season of 24 episodes. It's only four light novels. You heard me right. It's only 4 novels long. The author ended it at 4. Maybe the sales were low, or they didn't want to keep going, or they kind of left the door open at the end for a 5th one if they wanted to, but it's mostly just a contained story of 4 volumes. And it has a good premise with good reason. Let me explain. Todo Masaki works as a game master on his favorite MMORPG, Britalia Online. There might be strange rumors circulating about players disappearing, and his job might force him to pull one all-nighter after another. But Todo is pretty content with his life. That is until he suddenly loses consciousness during a break one day. When he wakes up, he finds himself involuntarily summoned to a whole new world where magic, in-game skills, and monsters are part of the daily grind. Fortunately, Todo quickly discovers he still has access to his Game Master abilities, and he fully intends to make use of every means at his disposal to survive in this world ravaged by war. But first, he needs to escape from his cell. First of all, the premise that many people are being isekai'd against their will, mind you, to this other world. The main character has Game Master abilities in a world where video game skills carry over as physical traits of a person, and it's not like an Overlord situation where it's like it resembles Yggdrasil but not exactly, and there you can use tier magic. In this series, multiple people have been summoned to this world over course of many decades, and they take skills from each individual game they were playing when they got isekai. So like, and eventually there's a girl that shows up, I think in like the 2nd volume. She's a sniper because the last game she was playing was one of those sniper games. And her sister was playing a farming simulator, and thus when she got isekai'd, she had farming skills. He's a game master of the world he was working on, so that's why he had his GM skills, because he was literally working on the game when he got isekai'd. And then there's a ninja guy later because of playing a ninja game. There's a guy that's literally a Yu-Gi-Oh parody, and he was playing that Yu-Gi-Oh parody before he got isekai'd. Man, for 4 volumes, this story is great. It keeps moving for each volume. It has an ending at number 4, and it's short enough to only be one season. One season of 24 episodes is the perfect pacing, I think. Don't know why no one's picked up on it before. It's not that old of a series. I'll have to figure out. I'll probably put it on screen like when this novel first came out. But man, is this story great for only 4 volumes. It's... Oh, and the ending is worth reading towards. Ooh. It's worth reading the 4 volumes. Now you feel like #1, shining bright for everyone. Now then, number 15 on my list. Magic Stone Gourmet. Eating magical power made me the strongest. This is another series on here that... Actually, wait, hang on. Let me check. No. This is the first one on this list, aside from Common America, that I have not read yet. This is one of the recommendations I had from a friend of mine, who may or may not be the same one. This is one I've been meaning to get around to. I found it a while ago, haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but so I'm only going to give you the description I have, and that'll have to do. Following a mysterious gachapon, an unlucky soul is reborn into a fantastical world as the young Ein Roundheart. He possesses a skill that allows him to break down poisonous substances, which is nowhere near as cool as his little brother's flashy combat skill. Ein does his best, but even so, his father and stepmother bypass him to proclaim their youngest son the heir to the household, and things only get more complicated from there. On the heels of a fateful encounter with a young girl named Crone, Ein and his mother are shunned by the family and decide to take refuge in her home kingdom, where Ein is suddenly declared the crown prince. This marks the beginning of a whole new life for Ein, and he's out to prove that he's worthy of the crown. I'll just say this now. That's all I got. Like I said, it's the first one on this list that I personally don't have much knowledge of, aside from knowing what this series is, so I'll leave you at that. Now you feel like #1, shining bright for everyone. Number 16 is Peddler in Another World. I can go back to my world whenever I want to. This is one that I've read. Of course, it's only 1 volume I've read. I really want to get to a lot of series. But, you can only afford so much. I know. After quitting his job at a toxic company, Shiro Amata moves into the house his grandmother left him in her will. There, he soon makes 2 life-changing discoveries. 1, his grandmother was really a witch from another world, and 2, said other world is just on the other side of her closet door. Thanks to a book she left for Shiro, he also manages to obtain an all-powerful skill called equivalent exchange, which allows him to turn money from his world into otherworldly currency and vice versa. With this, Shiro decides to set up shop and sell convenient items like matches to the colorful inhabitants of the other world. His plan? Make a massive profit on the goods he brings from home to become so rich that he never needs another job ever again. Now, the premise sounds like the cheat skill in Another World, but I also got in the Real World 2, or whatever that one's called. It only shares the whole back and forth travel. It's not similar to that one, but it takes the concept of, oh, your family was from another world, behind that closet door over there. And you just have free reign to go back and forth. And what he does in the other world is what a lot of people would do, as well as having equivalent exchange as a skill. He's like, well, I'm from a world with a lot of conveniences. That world doesn't. And they won't know that it comes from another world, so I get to make money. And it's a great read. I'm only 1 volume in, but man, is it a fun read. Most of these I've either haven't read or I've barely scratched the surface. I'm not going to be uber enthusiastic like I was in the previous video over certain series. I had more to say in the previous video. I'm sorry. Now you feel like number one, shining bright for everyone. But now it's time for number 17. Now I'm a demon lord, happily ever after with monster girls in my dungeon. This is another one that I have not read. It was a recommendation from someone else, but it's one that I've heard of and I really want to get to. Yuki finds himself reincarnated as the demon lord in another world, and he's been put in charge of a dungeon to boot. Once Yuki accepts that his fate hinges on the dungeon's survival in a world where powerful monsters roam free and danger lurks at every corner, he begins gathering allies and bolstering his defenses. Within a few days, he takes on a legendary dragon, an adorable pet slime, and a vampire girl, but despite all his precautions, life as a demon lord in a dungeon, constantly under threat, is surprisingly mellow? Of course, with such a colorful cast of characters, Yuki's bound to wind up in some trouble. Will he be able to pull off a reckless rescue mission? And how will he and his monster girl survive an invasion by a hostile human kingdom? Yeah, it sounds like slice of life, and there was another one that I'm probably going to put in my next video that sounds similar to this one, so it sounds like a slice of life isekai in terms of what it is. I mean, it says it right there in the title, happily ever after. So it would probably be like one of those isekai that's like you don't expect much out of because of its premise being so chill. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think slice of life needs to have more variety in that genre, but it's good to get more of them. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't mind getting this one adapted. Now you feel like Number 18 is Ado? Ado? I don't know how to pronounce this one. It's a random manga I found one day. The description says it's for fans of Akira and Sakamoto Days, which Sakamoto Days got announced for an anime recently too. So that's cool. This is one that's barely been released at the moment. I think there's only 3 volumes of this manga. It's one that I'm definitely going to get to. So let's just read the description. Following a wave of immigration, Japan has become a volatile mix of people and cultures, rocked by the protests of xenophobic extremists unhappy with the new status quo. A brash, job-hopping young woman named Riko is driving her scooter through one such protest when she sees a boy about to get run over by a truck. Riko just manages to shove him out of the way, and in the hours that follow, she finds herself looking after the boy named Aito. Riko takes Aito out for a bowl of ramen, but just as they're about to dig in, Aito is fired upon by a distant army sniper. As the bullet pierces the restaurant window and comes whizzing toward Aito, plant-like tendrils snake out from his arm and stop it in mid-flight. Who in the world is this boy, and why is the army after him? I mean, just from that alone, it sounds like an interesting read. I know nothing about this series. I have been meaning to get to it. It's still very much a new series. Granted, because there's only like 3 volumes at the moment. It's relatively new. It sounds a lot like Blood Blockade Battlefront, except change New York for Japan with a bunch of xenophobic extremists. And it really does sound like Blood Blockade Battlefront, so... And I like that series, so this one sounds pretty fun. I'm sorry I can't say more. I don't have much else to say. Now you feel like number one, shining bright for everyone. Number 19, second to last, is the Exodrive Reincarnation Games. Once again, this is another series that I have not personally read. This is actually one I found while browsing a bookstore, and I didn't get it because I wanted to do a little more digging on it first. But after reading a little more on it, this is a series I would love to see adapted in anime form. Just wait, let me listen to my description. In the not-so-distant future, isekai is a way of life. The world has perfected how to hit an average teenager with a truck to launch them into a new world for a fantasy adventure. But once that's done, how do you keep it entertaining? Set up a televised tournament, of course. Roaring crowds can follow a chosen hero through his death, rebirth, and quest to save another world, armed with special tech for cheat skills, stat indexes, and whatever else is needed. Surely this is all in good fun and no one would abuse this kind of reincarnation technology. Question mark. Wow, what a premise. How do you make isekais interesting once they become so normalized? I know, a tournament! That says all I need to know that I'm on board with this. Sign me up. Not for the tournament, mind you, but this series. This sounds awesome. And I bet you're all wondering, what could possibly be after that for the final one of this list? I hate to disappoint you, but now you feel like #1, shining bright for everyone. Number 20 is Kaiju Girl Caramelise. I bet you're wondering, what is this? Well, I mean, we have Kaiju number 8 now. Isn't this the time to get a Kaiju series? Another one? This one may seem like another Kaiju series just for the sake of a Kaiju series, especially a hot on the heels of Kaiju number 8. But hear me out. Suffering from a rare incurable illness that causes frightening changes to her body, loner Kuroe Akaishi spends her high school days avoiding all her classmates, especially class idol Arata Minami and his groupies. But when Arata starts making her heart skip a beat with irritating regularity, Kuroe discovers that her illness actually has a big, make that monster secret. Romance turns her into Lovezilla. Literally. Oh boy. It just feels right now that we have Kaiju number 8 to give us the Kaiju rom-com. I know a little about this series aside from this description, but I thought, why not? We have one Kaiju series out that's an anime, why not have another one? You know? It's a very unique premise, especially for what it is. So that's the last one on this list. Like I said at the beginning, no particular order. Now then. Now you feel like #1, shining bright for everyone. That's the video. 10 more manga/light novels that I think need an anime. Okay? My opinion, don't know why that wasn't clear last time, but whatever. Hope I got more people interested in these series. Hope people go out and they start reading these. I hope I gave more awareness to Common America at the beginning of this video as an American comic book that should get the Invincible treatment, because that would be awesome. My first video blew up way more than I ever thought it would, so thank you all for watching that last video to give me the push to even make another one. I didn't feel like making another one until I saw that it got upwards of thousands of views. So thank you all so much for watching that video and this one. Put down in the description any others that don't have an anime yet that you would want me to put in a part 3, because I'm already writing the script for a part 3 video. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend, and I will see you all in the next video.